everybody. This is Kelly Jackson with TruthWire News, and I have a very, very special live stream tonight. I have my good friend Chris Morris, who is the committee man for the GOP Tennessee SEC in, I think it's District 28, right, Chris?
That would be correct. Okay. How are you, Kelly?
I'm good. I'll tell you, it's been a very, very busy election season. I just got called a keyboard warrior today.
Wow.
Yeah. She thought she was being real smart. Anyway, hey there, because I know you're probably watching. So, Chris, I brought you on because I wanted to interview you about your race. You are running for re-election for your seat in the SEC. And I just sort of wanted to cover a few things for people. We've got a lot of transfers, newbies here in Tennessee over the last couple of years. And in lots of states, they sort of organize their state parties differently than Tennessee does. If you could just sort of quickly explain to people how our state GOP is set up.
Well, our state, and thank you for having me on, Kelly. And our state GOP is set up. There are 33 senatorial districts across the state of Tennessee. I happen to be senatorial district 28, which Joey Hensley is the state senator for that district. And he has a little bit of Williamson County like I do. Mm-hmm. But
that's a Spring Hill, right?
Yeah, the Spring Hill area towards Thompson Station in that area. It's just a little blip of Williamson County, a little pocket. And then senatorial district 27, who Jack Johnson is the state senator for that area. So they both are state senators, with Joy just having a minute part, Jack having the remaining part. Okay.
Right.
And from that, there are two SEC members per senatorial district. So 33 times 2, do the math, is 66. And each district is represented by a committee man and a committee woman. Okay. So, for an example, in senatorial district 28, my committee woman is Angie McClanahan.
Okay.
And I am the committee man. Angie's a sweetheart. She does a great job and a true patriot.
Yes.
And then in senatorial district 27, we have Cindy Miller, who is the state executive committee woman, and Steve Allbrooks, who is the state executive committee man.
Yeah, that's my district. So that's my district.
Right. And we have 33 districts throughout the state. So there's 66 of us, and we're elected on the ballot by the senatorial district, which personally is something that I've been looking at, and it's been this way since 1972. Okay. Seems like there were a lot of things that went on in 1972.
Yeah.
Probably done by
I was born that year. That was a good year for me.
Yeah, true. But anyway, in 1972, seems like a lot of things were done that year. Probably a Democrat-controlled House and Senate and a governor. Yeah. I'd have to go back and look, to be honest.
I can tell you it was. It was.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they made the law that the state executive committee would be elected by the people. Personally, we are private parties, both the Democrat and Republican Party, and we control our own party. I don't think legislation, with the House and Senate, should be involved in any shape, form, or fashion, telling these private parties how to run their business. And anytime the government sticks their finger in something, guess what? It's guaranteed to be messed up somehow.
And it almost inevitably gives them some kind of advantage that they are not actually entitled to.
Yes, and I think constitutionally, this needs to be appointed by the senatorial districts for the counties and the area they represent through a caucus form of appointment for the state executive committee man and committee woman. I do not think we should be on the ballot. And for most people out there, this is an unpaid position.
Yeah.
You get paid $0. You get paid no per diem. You get paid nothing.
Well,
No,
and then you have to spend money too. It costs you something. You have to,
it costs me to be on the state executive committee.
yeah,
It costs me money. It costs me time away from being able to do yard work, being able to do things that I need to do around the house, to be at meetings. I go to the county party meetings. I've rarely missed a county party meeting in any county that I serve.
yeah.
And I've missed one state executive committee meeting because I had a son to graduate from Auburn University. So that's a good reason.
That's a good reason.
But, I've been there. I do what I'm supposed to do. And I wish Senator Hensley was here. I don't want to put words in his mouth. I've done more as a state executive committee man than anybody he's ever seen.
Wow, that's great. Well, I'm sure he would confirm that. We like Senator Hensley around here too. Although, anyway, there are. Let's just go ahead and jump sort of straight into the spilling the tea aspects of what we were going to discuss. Well, first of all, let's talk a little bit about who they've got running against you. Who do they have running against you, Chris?
I've never heard this gentleman's name, never personally got to really meet him, didn't know anything about him. And in March, qualifying deadline, I think was March the 19th, if my memory serves me correct. And the day before, this gentleman qualified to run against me. And his name is Dennis Driggers.
Yeah.
I'd never seen him, never heard of him.
Yeah.
He's
on our Williamson County School Board for District 3. We had that position vacated early. And Dennis, I believe, was elected in 2024. I don't remember if he was appointed ahead of time or if they kept that seat vacant until he ran for the seat and it was empty because the previous occupant had moved out of the area.
Right. Like I said, I knew nothing about him. And then they turned in qualification papers the day before. And then there was two people who turned in qualification papers against my state executive committee woman, Angie McClanahan.
Wow.
One was Julie Kwan from over in Marshall County, and the other one was Debbie Matthews from over in Murray County, and both former party chairs of Julie was a former party chair of Marshall, and Debbie, former party chair of Murray.
So Angie was targeted too. She was some events that kept. So you can go ahead and tell us what events enabled her to not have to deal with that challenge.
Well, you can withdraw your name once you qualify. You can withdraw your name from the ballot like 1 week after the deadline. And and I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought I knew Julie and Debbie were both close friends. Debbie, after she did not get party chair of Murray County and was defeated, lack of a better word, I think in 23, she was defeated by a gentleman by the name of Jerry Bridenbaugh. She packed her bags and left and disowned the party, period, pure and simple, and started her own Conservative Republicans of Murray County, a spinoff party. And I thought, well, Julie was attending her meetings. I've never attended one.
I've been there. I was sort of new to all of this, and I don't live in Murray County, so I was unaware of all the things. And I was invited. I went down to one of Debbie's meetings, and I've spoken at one of them. I saw Julie there. I know Julie too. But I was unaware that this was a product of not having the chairmanship anymore. I mean, what differentiates? How can people tell that that's what this essentially was, is you feel that this is a shadow party versus just another conservative group? How can she not make that argument?
Well, it is just a shadow party, pure and simple. And here's what happened. You had a week to withdraw your name, and Julie went in like about 4 o'clock the afternoon before the day that you could withdraw your name. And she withdrew her name from the ballot. I said, wow. And so I got to looking, and I looked at their qualification papers. I said, well, they didn't fall out with each other. Debbie signed Julie's and Julie signed Debbie's. Mm-hmm. And I said, this was a plotted, planned effort by those two. Mm-hmm. And so anyway, Julie withdrew. And once you withdraw, it's irrevocable. Okay. You cannot go back and say, hey, I made a mistake. Let me back on the ballot. You cannot do that. Okay. So anyway, then what happened, Debbie Matthews was removed by myself from the ballot because of her shenanigans in the past and by the statement she made on her party website that she started. I think it's Constitutional Republicans of Murray County. I'll look it up real quick. Where she totally denied the party. Said, I don't want to be, we're not affiliated with the TNGOP in any way, nor are we governed by their bylaws. We welcome all Republican and independents. Okay. And she just totally denounced the true in each county, and there's 95 counties, each county has a state recognized Republican Party. Yeah. And she separated herself from the recognized Republican Party. Then she put this statement out. So there in itself, and I hope she's watching or she gets to see this, because she spent a lot of time on 99.7 on the Matt Murphy show, trashing Angie, Scott Golden, and myself. And she opines. She spins it to fit her narrative. And what I tell her is get in front of a mirror and point the finger at her own self. It's her own fault for what she did. And she was removed because of her active status. She's not involved with the Murray County Republican Party. Yes, she's bona fide, but her active status is what hung her.
Let's talk about that just a little bit, because I know that the bylaws for bona fide status, because we have these ridiculous rules that we have to worry about because we don't have party registration in the state of Tennessee. So I know that the bylaws committee was able to change the rule from 2 to 4. So from 2 out of the last 4 primaries, now it's a 3 of 4 standard, correct?
That is correct as of this recording.
Right. And then on top of that, you have this list that's about this long, literally, in the bylaws, and there are semicolons between each and every organization or thing that also can qualify you under the guise of, or under the definition of active within the Republican Party. So what that seemingly does is sort of opens it up for interpretation, but at the same time, it just gives you this big long list. Do y'all think that you'll ever take that list and sort of say, okay, out of this big long list, you have to have 3 out of 4, but you have to have 2 of this big long list? Like, show us, because it feels like it can be, because I know when I first got here, it was weaponized against people like me who were in the grassroots, who were trying to participate in the party. Do you think it would make it easier for y'all when you say, look, you couldn't prove this to me. You're coming to me because, say, you don't have 3 out of 4. You're coming to me because you want to convince me that you're Republican enough to run and be on the ballot. Well, there's this big long list of things that you could be active in, but I'm not seeing any proof of that. Do you think that that y'all would ever just say, well, here's this long list. If you have at least 2 or 3 of those, then you qualify? Or would you just let them have access to anything, like anything on this list? It's 3 out of 4 and anything on this list. What do you think would make it easier for people so they can't come back at y'all and say, hey, you were unfair. You didn't give me my waiver. You didn't, the complaints that you always hear.
Well, I'm going to answer your question. I just want to clarify this disclaimer that she put on Conservative Republicans of Murray County on their Facebook page. is a private club for conservative Republicans and independents, not affiliated or governed by the TNGOP. So I take that as denouncing the state party. And then she wants to come back and run for a seat at the table for the very party she went out and there's been a lot of talk. I know Jason Gillum is the Murray County Party chair.
Mhm.
He's extended a olive branch to her to try to make things, get everybody on the same sheet of music, because Democrats will stick together like
Yeah.
a group of maggots,
Yeah.
and Republicans will eat each other.
That's true.
That's the sad part.
That's
And
true.
this is what we're dealing with for the reason for you and I sitting here talking about this. And I think, each one of us, and Angie and I can only speak for she and I, we work hand in glove. We try to take the bylaws and follow them to the T.
Yeah.
Are we perfect? Absolutely not.
No.
None of us are. Okay.
Right.
But we try to be as fair across the board to everybody. There are some, and I'm not pointing fingers at any SEC member, there are just some that interpret things different than Angie and I do. It's like people interpret a scripture in the Bible different.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. So some SEC members are strong on the bona fide and the active status part. Some are weaker. Okay.
Yeah.
And we have the right
Right.
to actually waiver somebody
Right.
to let them participate.
Right. Right.
And, every time that we've wavered, and I'm speaking for Angie and I again, when we have wavered somebody, it's come around to bite us in our derriere each and every time.
It tends to do that. Mm-hmm.
So to answer your question in a nutshell, if I'm reelected,
Mm-hmm.
and I hope I am, if I'm reelected, I want the bylaws completely revamped, rewritten,
awesome.
reworked, because another SEC member has took it upon himself and ran it through this chat GPT or whatever you call that.
Hi. Mm-hmm.
And I'm not the most computer savvy person in the world, but this younger generation knows more than we do about that stuff.
Yeah.
There's like 19 redundancies in our body.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And we need to fix the mess.
Yes.
And this mess has been created over a period of years.
Yeah.
It's not Scott Golden's fault.
Yeah.
It's not Chris Devaney's fault. It's actually every SEC. They see something and they want to change it, and then they'll change it, and then they see it don't work, and they want to go back and put it back to the way it was and make it a little different, add a little different seasoning.
Right.
So we need to set things that's simple for a kindergartner to understand.
Yes.
Bullet points, and make it just dot, dot, dot. And that way all of us are on the same sheet of music.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that would fix the problem. I think that's something that whoever is elected after this election's over on August the 6th,
Yeah.
they really need to take that under consideration, because the bylaws totally need to be revamped and rewritten.
Yeah.
And there's some things that need to be changed. There's some things that need to be strengthened. And I think a lot of people, and if they jump at me, I'm stronger on wanting bona fide.
Yeah.
I think 3 out of 4 is weak as water. And I'll say that, and
When
I'll
you
stand
say
behind.
4 out of 4, or what would you like to see? What would satisfy you? Because from my view, we have a school board member who's outgoing here in Williamson County that's as left gets, but he's a bona fide Republican because he's voted in all of the Republican primaries. So how without close primaries, how do we mitigate that?
Well, we have got to have party registration, pure and simple. Thought we were going to get it. We were close as ever. And here we go again. Mm-hmm. We've got too many weak Republicans, and I'm going to say it loud and clear. Mm-hmm. There's too many weak, spineless Republicans in both the House and Senate up there. Mm-hmm. This time it ended up that the Senate finally passed it.
Yeah.
Last year, it couldn't even get a second in the Senate committee.
Yeah.
And that was
Why?
terrible. That is
Most
terrible.
of the time when they kill stuff, it's killed in the House committees, not in the Senate, because Jack's got that sucker wrapped up. So, it's a smaller group of people to manage, to whip the votes or to kill, whatever. The House is usually where things die in darkness in the committee.
Yeah. But, last year it died in the Senate committee, passed the House in flying colors. Then this year, the Senate, it got picked back up. The Senate passed it. It goes back. And I think they were adding the financial cost to party registration.
That's all.
And we had weak Republicans in the House. I'll take up for the Senate this time.
Yeah.
We had weak Republicans in the House who didn't get it through. And that is crying shame.
Yeah.
When we are the governing body of the Republican Party and we're wanting party registration.
Yes.
And then we have to wait on these trans Republicans up there that, and if I need to define that, I will.
Go ahead.
Most people don't know.
Define it.
Yeah, well, and I started the trans Republican. I got tired of the word rhino. I just got tired of it. And a lot of these people up there, they don't know whether they're Democrat, Republican. They don't know if they're male or female, gay or straight. And I'll just put it out there in plain hillbilly language where they can truly understand, because it really rips me a new one when we're supposed to be Republicans and we're supposed to be very conservative. And, I even got ripped in 2024 when we weakened our national party platform. And we changed it. We had it as marriage between a man and woman. It got watered down to between two people. What are we doing? God Almighty is frowning on us.
That's because of Obergefell. And then, of course, I know that the position, the platform party position with abortion was also changed because of the Dobbs decision. I think President Trump sort of saw that as the issue has been resolved. It goes back to the states, but that's just with the legalities. It doesn't really address the morality of the issue.
Agree. Now, our state party platform is stronger than the national party platform.
Yes.
And what I think, we as the SEC are supposed to be in charge of the Republican Party. Not it be legislated. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, and even the federal court, Supreme Court said that it's a private organization.
Yes. In fact, it's a First Amendment. It's a First Amendment right for y'all as a private organization to not have to associate with anyone that you don't want to.
Right. So we get to pick our members. And I feel like in our bylaws, and I know some of the legislators, there's been rumblings and talk. Well, let me make it loud and clear. I feel like we ought to look at everything from the governorship down.
Yeah.
Okay? I don't want to get into the U.S. congressman, U.S. senator. We need to look at the governor down.
Yeah.
And you do something that's in violation of the Republican bylaws, the Republican platform, we can remove your R from your name and strip you of that.
Yeah, you mean like when you lose the reorganization for the county party, you go and form a shadow board and have competing events on the same nights as your county CEC has their mixers, like what happened here in Williamson County? Is it something like that, Chris?
Yes, you would be removed and I would want you banned for 10 years.
Yeah.
You got to make the punishment fit the crime.
Yeah.
And you want to get out here and you want to start your shadow party, start your pity party, and pick up your bags and say, well, I didn't get my way, and be like you're in kindergarten. You should have some severe punishment. Yeah. And I know that happened it started in the 23 reorg in Williamson County, which I was involved in. Yeah. And then it continued in 25.
Yes.
And it actually, the very first fracture of a party actually started in Murray. Williamson didn't take that claim to fame. Murray does. Okay. It started in Murray, then it snowballed into Williamson. Then I think it caught on in Sumner.
Yes.
It just started happening across the state.
Yeah.
If you're not man enough or woman enough to stay and support your state sanctioned party,
Yeah.
you need to get out of the way. You're part of the problem. You're not part of the solution.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pure and simple, whether it's a state legislator, a state senator, or the governor,
Yeah.
or any county party member, if you do not follow the bylaws and you don't follow the platform, you need to go.
Yeah, I can tell you the first 6 or 7 months after our reorganization in 25 in March, for about the first 6 months, they held it's the Williamson County Conservatives, even though they call themselves the Grassroots, trying to gaslight everybody, making them think that they're actually the establishment. We're the Grassroots. And all of these events hosted all of these legislators. Jack Johnson was at most of those. He spoke at a lot of them. William Lamberth, Jake McCalman, Lee Reeves. That's where they went. They didn't come to the official county parties meetings and share information with the people who actually vote for them. They went to the shadow boards events and talked to those people, because they were just mad because their slate of candidates didn't win. And I think you have your arm moved for that if you represent Williamson County.
Sounds like a Democrat.
Right.
Sounds like Democratic tactics.
Yeah.
You know, the thing about it is, and Chairman Steve Hickey of the Williamson County Party has numerous times reached out to Jack Johnson and trying to mend the fences.
Yeah.
And he's doing the right thing. Jack Johnson, he wanted us, all 4 of the SEC members, to meet with Senator Jack Johnson, and he refused. So he needs to put on his big boy britches, and I hope he sees this. And if he wants to talk face to face,
yeah,
I'll talk to you any day of the week. I'm not scared to talk to you.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, they start this childish behavior. And what got me in the 2025 reorg is Lee Reeves. Boy, it ticked me off. He started hollering cheating and all that. Your AOE, your Administrative Elections of Williamson County, Chad, and forgive me, is his last name Gray?
Gray, yes, Chad Gray.
He seems like a nice individual.
Yeah.
He set up the voting machines. The county party paid for it. They were given paper ballots, and they went through a scanner system.
Yes.
And there was like 137, 139 kicked out because the people marked the ballot wrong.
Right.
They did get to revote. They let them go back.
I know that there was a lot of accusation that if their ballot got tossed, well, they didn't get to cast a vote, so they were disenfranchised. There was a lot of crying and
there was a lot of lying. Let's just call it what it is. It wasn't a little lie, a white lie. It was a plain lie. There was a lot of lying there. They did get to revote. We kept the 137-39 in an envelope. I offered it to Brian Floyd if you want to go through and look at them. He said no. Okay. But Lee started it by hollering there was cheating. And then Brian Clifford wanted it recounted. And we hand counted it 3 times.
Yeah.
We hand counted it 3 times. And we found 4 mistakes from the reader. Nothing big.
Right. Well, actually, I think Steve got more votes instead of less.
He picked up 4 votes.
Yeah.
Correct. And it
how they thought.
Nothing wrong. We redid it. There were several SEC members in the room, along with Brian Floyd, and Steve Hickey chose to stay in the room. Brian Clifford didn't. Okay. But anyway, we walked out of there and everybody was satisfied. But the thing that I'll say to Lee Reeves, you need to stay in your lane of legislating and let us stay in our lane of running the SEC.
Yeah.
You know, there was no cheating. It went on this. And it seems like there's a group of people up there that if they don't get their way, they're like a bunch of kindergartners.
Yeah.
They need to grow up and put on their big girl britches and the big boy britches
Yeah.
and act like adults and quit acting like a bunch of schoolyard kids.
Now that leads me to another question, which I have an affiliation with another organization called the Rhino Removal Project. And so the assertions from that organization that I still work with is that because of the fact that y'all have that First Amendment right not to associate, if the state say, the presumption is that Chairman Golden could sort of just declare, we're going to close the primaries. We have the right to, we're closing them. And say Trey Hargett steps in and says, the state says whether or not you can open or close them. We've seen other states do this. In fact, Ken Paxton is leading the way in Texas right now.
Amen.
He's suing his own state to close their primaries. So I guess my question is, would the Tennessee GOP be in a position to be that bold and say, look, we're closing our primaries, and if you want, you can take us to court, but you're going to lose because the Supreme Court has already ruled on this issue?
Well, I can only speak for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I would be a yes.
Okay.
I would say, hey, that's just like they stripped that bill, House Bill 855. They have spun that, opined it, have not told the truth.
No.
They and Lee Reeves, I hold you totally accountable, my friend, because you had other legislators, House members, thinking that we were going to caucus you guys. We caucus at the county level down.
Yeah.
Okay. And what they did, they confused a reorg.
Oh, yes.
With an election, and
Right.
they were totally wrong. They misrepresented. They misled. They lied.
Yeah.
Very simple.
So this leads me then to this campaign that we're seeing on Facebook. I put an article out today about this organization called Tennessee First Action. And it seems to be sponsoring advertisements for your opponent, Dennis Driggers,
Mm-hmm.
for Cindy's opponent, Mary Kate Brown,
Mm-hmm.
for Steve Albrecht's opponent, which is Stevie Giorno, for there's an open seat, I think, in Washington County, because I spoke to my friend who's the chair out there, Danielle Goodrich. She indicated, I think there was a death. So this woman is running for that open seat. Is that correct?
I really don't know. I can't answer that.
Okay.
I know my good friend over in Wilson County, and they have a little bit of Davidson County.
Okay.
I think it's Senatorial District 17, Mark Pody's
Yes.
district.
Brad
Lytle.
Brad is fantastic. So he's been targeted too.
Yeah.
So what information, you indicated to me before we went live that you had some information of possibly where this is coming from, if you want to share that.
When we start pointing fingers, we do the blame game, as I call it. And we start blaming who's behind this, because nobody can find out any information about it. It just appeared. It's funny that your reporting was July the 10th. On July the 11th, here comes these websites for Mary Kate Brown, Stevie Giorno, and Dennis Driggers. And I can tell they're done by the same people,
Oh, yes.
And I said, wow, where's this coming from? Then they start dropping these text messages.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are complaining, where you guys will know, they're on the do not call list. They're opting out. They're not appreciative of it. So that creates another problem. Then they got this little flash push on Facebook.
Yeah.
And, they just start all this happening. And of course, Dennis Driggers, Dennis, I know you tried to snoop into me and look at stuff. So
you want to tell that story after we wrap this up, you're welcome to tell that one too.
I'll be glad to tell that story, because like I said, I didn't know the guy. I appreciate his service. I know he spread into windows that I'm against veterans voting. That is far from the truth as anything can be.
Mm-hmm.
That is just so asinine. And, I support our veterans. I love our veterans. If you get down into our local organization here, I do a lot for them in my home county. So that's what just everybody gets tickled when they hear that I'm against veterans or somebody says, you know.
Yeah.
And I was born a military brat. So anyway, Dennis, I don't know if you found that out or not, but
well, he is counterintelligence, or he was, so you would think he would know.
well, you know, it's a lot there. You know, it almost frustrates me if you ain't got the backbone or the ball sack to come up and say something to me face to face, and you want to do it behind my back. That shows me a sign of a coward. And I'll just, you know, and I'll be honest with you. I saw him last night at Marshall County. He showed up at I've only seen him at the one, he may have been at 2 mix and mingles there in Williamson. I hadn't seen him anywhere else in any other counties that I served, but he showed up after the county party meeting was adjourned last night.
Yeah.
He showed up and he stayed away from me. I stood around for a few minutes. I talked to people. He had the golden opportunity to come up and talk to me. So, and he didn't. And I had the same opportunity, nor did I go up and talk to him.
Right.
But, you know, sometimes when I know what the guy has done behind my back, you know, I just try to just kind of keep peace and go on about my own better judgment, you know. But, you know, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes and people just don't know. And what I found out, it's the group of the Williamson County Constitutional Conservatives, WCC. They're
Williamson County. It's just Williamson County Conservatives.
Oh, Williamson County Conservatives.
Not no, as far as I know, we don't have one with constitutional in it, but who knows?
And I apologize.
Okay.
WCC.
Yes.
It's a lot of that group that has formed together some type of PAC that's not been filed and throwing money in there to try to get true conservative people unseated.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, see, the thing about it is,
because has there been anything that any of you have done that anybody can really point to, like you endorsed a Democrat, or I mean, you did something so egregious that violated the bylaws in such a way that you need to be replaced?
Yeah, I've had a few to come at and try to get me replaced or get Scott to remove me or sanction me, because I call a spade a spade. I think Randy McNally should have been removed as lieutenant governor by his actions. I think Ken Yeager getting down in Tybee Island and getting drunk and his khakis went from regular khakis to two-tone in a field sobriety test. He should have been sanctioned. There should be punishment for your actions for things that's unbecoming a Republican. But we don't slap them on the hand. We don't sanction them. And I think that's where the SEC needs to be a little stronger, because they are representing us. And when you make national news like that, it makes Tennessee look bad.
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing.
It is.
People just think it's okay. And, you know, I was thinking they stood at the Statesman's dinner. They made Randy McNally the legislator of the year. And I thought, Jesus Christ, what a joke.
They did a skit about him on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, there's his 15 minutes of fame you don't want.
He did not for that. And I remember when that happened and thinking, we all were sort of thinking, well, he's done. No. They circled them wagons and nothing happened. And the media just sort of moved on. I was shocked because, you know, they dislike guys like him as much as the grassroots tends to. And I was just surprised that they didn't push it harder, you know, where now you've got guys like Phil Williams going after the grassroots conservatives, seemingly not. Now he's done some pretty decent pieces on Marsha lately, but you know, he seems to be coming after us even a little harder than them. And it's like, you're not, believe it or not, we may have more in common than you think. I have a friend that went poll watching today and started having a conversation with her co-poll watcher, who was, by the way, part of a very left-leaning organization. They got to talking and she told her, you know, kind of what her values were. And her co-poll watcher looked at her and went, "What?" They all assume that if you have an R after your name, well, you're just one of those establishment Republicans. they have no idea that we've got more, probably, as far as some of those things about like the vouchers and that kind of stuff. We probably have a little bit more in common than you would think if they just talk to us.
Well, the key thing in anything, and even what we're discussing here, even like Dennis Driggers, is one word that he's lacking: communication.
Oh,
He could
yeah.
have communicated with me.
Yeah.
We could have talked about things.
I mean, instead of
issues.
pretending to be somebody else and showing up at your workplace and
Well, that's another story in itself. I get a phone call one morning right after 7 o'clock, and the gentleman, I answered the phone. I was very busy with what I was doing, and I ran and got the phone, and he said he used a name, didn't use his name. This is so-and-so. Is Chris Morris there? And I said, this is he speaking. How can I help you? He said, thank you, and hung up. I thought, man, I find that a little odd. I don't know what happened right there. And so I went back. I was very busy. We were serving breakfast, had a lot going on, had a lot of people there at that time. And about 8:10, 8:15, this gentleman walks in my vestibule. Granted, I've never seen him, didn't know who he was, other than the name he'd filed to run for the SEC seat. So he walks in, and I said, sir, can I help you? And he said, are you no longer serving breakfast? I said, no, sir, it ends at 8 o'clock. And he said, well, it's my understanding you're open to the public, and I'd like to eat breakfast. I said, if I still serving, I'd let you eat. No problem. And I said, by the way, are you a guest here? And he said, no, I'm not. And I said, well, even if I was still serving, I'd let you eat.
yeah.
He said, well, you could help me with one more thing. And I said, what's that? And he said, I need a bathroom. And I directed him to where our off the lobby restroom is. And he came out, and I said, sir, is there anything I can do to help you? Nope. And he went right out the door. I said, that's strange. So then I go back into the area where my cook's at. I said, this is the strangest encounter I've ever had with an individual. And I knew I kind of guessed the individual was in his mid 70s and an older gentleman. I didn't know nothing about him. And then I happened to look out the window, and the dude is filming my car, taking pictures of my car tag. I said, what is this clown doing? So I got a way that you can't see me, and I just watched him the whole time. And I didn't know what vehicle he was in because there were several cars on the parking lot. So when he gets into his car, I snap a photo of the tag. And I'm not going to say which friend of mine. I got friends that can do things. And
Yeah.
the car came back to Dennis Driggers.
Mm.
Well, I don't have caller ID on my front desk phone, but it rolls to my iPhone. And I sit down and start getting things ready to kick off the day and housekeeping going. And I look, and it said Dennis Stewart Driggers, and give the phone number. I said, that's got to be him. And when the car tag came back and they said, it's Dennis Driggers, your opponent, I said, wow. I said, why didn't he say something? Why did he come here like a form of stalking? And, that's just crazy. And I thought, man, this is a strange encounter,
At the very least, it's just juvenile,
Yeah.
How old are we? I mean, come on.
And he could have told me, hey, I'm Dennis Driggers, and I'd like to meet you. And I'd been fine. Don't misrepresent yourself.
Yeah.
So right there, I drew the line in the sand. I said, this guy is, I started checking out. And one of the things I find, people ask, well, where's he from? I said, California. They said, oh, my God. I appreciate his military service. I really do. I'm being sincere. But, hey, listen, we don't do things that way in Tennessee.
No.
know,
And as a native Californian, I'm completely fine with the way y'all do things here in Tennessee. It's why
Sure.
I live here and not there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but that was my first encounter with him. And other than at the mix and mingle, when we were told by Chairman Hickey we would have 2 minutes to address our position and everything and talk. And the only thing is, my counterpart Angie couldn't be there. They provided me her 2 minutes to help her as well, even though she has no opposition.
Yeah.
I stayed within the guidelines, and I told him, I said, let him go first. And like Andy Marshall said, hey, I had a 30-minute speech prepared, but Driggers took 20 of it. And everybody got a kick out of that,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I told Andy at Statesman's dinner, I said, thank you for the plug. And but anyway, it's sad that things happen that way. And the more he talked that night at the mix and mingle, and I'm sure you can go and find a recording of it somewhere, he never talked about the state executive committee, period.
Talked about
So
himself.
it was terrible.
I wasn't there that night, but basically is it essentially what he did? He just kind of talked about his own personal experience and
Military and professor at a university. And Dennis, I've gone on and looked at your reviews as being a professor. I'd be ashamed. So, but anyway, that's just the way I feel. I'm being honest. I'm an open book.
Yeah.
And the first time you and I ever met, I was very open with you.
Oh, yes.
And it seems like every time you've got somebody who is true, they're holding good biblical principles, they're holding good constitutional principles. Dadgum if we don't get attacked.
Yeah.
And that's the work of Satan. That's
I
just
think
the way I look at it.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the thing that the way that I differentiate the motivation that they have versus the motivation that anyone in the grassroots has for why you would put yourself. I mean, my husband ran this last May. He ran for county commission here in Williamson County because he felt called to serve his community. And what I see, the major difference that I see between why we do what we do and why they do what they do. Why we do what we do is because we care about good governance and we care about protecting the people and enabling them to have access to all of their freedoms and liberties and not have a government that imposes themselves improperly on the constituents and enable life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. What I see from the other side is just like a bloodlust, like just this lust for power and winning. And that's it. It's not about good governance. It's not about what's best for the people. It's these usurpers have come in here and they're trying to take over, and darn it, this is our territory. You can't have it. I had someone come to me during the primary and say, well, I mean, you support President Trump and I support President Trump, and I just don't understand why, we can't just all sit at the table and, come together. And I said, the reason is because we don't just cheer for everybody with an R after their name. We actually expect you to be a principled conservative. And if we see the opposite, we're going to say something and we're going to attempt to hold you accountable. We're not just going to sit down and shut up, which is exactly what y'all want us to do. So that's why we can't all just sit down and, sit at the table and enjoy some kind of communal
good camaraderie.
Yeah. Right. It's not ever since Donald Trump came down that big, beautiful gold escalator in 2015, the party changed. And the way I view things here from my experience over the last 10 years is because we were run by Democrats for about 130 years. We've really only been a supermajority red state for about 15 years. That's it. And
So
so
we don't even act like we're
no, we've been able to do anything we want for 15 years. And still, John Harris has to go to the court and sue to get gun control laws from Jim Crow off the books. And our governor and our general and our AGs are fighting it.
Yeah.
It's mind blowing. And I just I can't understand why it is that, because we are so new, I just basically see that there was a bunch of guys, and there's a lot of guys that have been there for a really long time. So I see a bunch of guys who were Clinton Democrats probably at one time, because, back in the 90s, that's what you had. And then they rebranded as Bush Republicans because there's not a lot of daylight there. And then now some of them that are left, they're masquerading as Trump conservatives. And at their core, their gooey center is still Clinton Democrat. So we have to do a better job. And that's where you come in, you and Cindy and Angie and Steve and all of our really great conservatives on the SEC. It's your job to make sure we get principled conservatives on the ballot. And that's why your job is so important.
Well, let me give you an example. We try our dead level best. We try to be fair. And yes, I'm going to be talking to Brian Clifford, who wanted to be the chair. He is a county commissioner in your county. Mm-hmm. And bless Cindy Miller's heart, she gave him a waiver to run. He was not a bona fide Republican. And Brian, what'd you do? You stabbed her right in the back. That's a turncoat. I don't care how you look at it.
Yeah. I did a video last week. That was the gist of it. Remember who those people are. Y'all are standing under the tents right now, and people are being nice to one another. But remember who they are. They will put a knife right in your back as soon as you turn around.
But I have to hand it to the Williamson County Republican Party. They're being, ladies and gentlemen, they are giving them the same amount of money to help them in their races. Mm-hmm. They're trying to bring unity, and the other side is trying to bring division.
Yeah.
And for people who do this, there needs to be some severe punishment.
Yeah.
You need to be stripped of your bona fide. You need to be removed, and you need to have a certain limit. Like, you got a 10-year sentence.
Yeah.
You can't participate, run for office as a Republican. If you choose to run independent or Democrat, that's your prerogative.
Do you think you'll get the bylaws committee all on the same page with something like that? Because it seems like it's a bit like herding drunk cats on that committee, trying to get everybody on board with something that's bold.
Herding cats is terrible, and instead of pulling a rope, it's like pushing a rope. Or pulling a chain, pushing a chain.
Right.
I think we can work together. There's been some people, when I came on there, we didn't see eye to eye, but we start talking, we start communicating, we start working for what's better for our party, not for we.
Right.
For us.
Right.
Our party.
Right.
And that's why legislators, they need to look at things that's better for we the people.
Oh, yeah.
Or for the state of Tennessee. State of Tennessee should be the shining star.
Yeah.
We've got so much going for us, and then we turn around and kind of pee it away.
Yeah.
But we need to work together, work in unison. We're not always going to agree.
No.
But we need to walk away from the table still friends.
Yeah. Or at least, well, friends is a strong word. At least colleagues that can have conversations and
good constructive conversations.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And it really bothers me how the attacks have come. That people say, well, we're the grassroots. No, you're not. I know who the grassroots are. I know who people that I want to surround myself with, people of like mind. I want to be around people who want to be more successful than me.
Yeah.
And that's what breeds success, and I want to learn through the knowledge of others.
Yeah.
And some folks just, you know, I don't know if Jesus Christ could get along with them. You know, sometimes I think I need to do like Jesus in the tabernacle, flip the tables.
Flip
He didn't
the
do
table.
it. He didn't do it once. He did it twice.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I saw a shirt that said, the problem with some of y'all is you're looking for seats at a table that you should be looking to flip.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I see a lot of that here.
Yeah. But, you know, there's a lot of, you know, there's good in everybody. I don't care who we are. Sometimes it's like peeling a layer of an onion. You got to peel several layers.
You're a lot more optimistic than I am.
Before you find the good. But I believe we all, and even you know, even that I feel like I do towards Brian Clifford, I think if we sat down and we had some good communication, good conversation, good camaraderie, we could walk out shaking hands and say, you know, you're not a half bad person, you know.
Yeah.
I'm willing to do that with anybody, even up to Jack Johnson, because, you know, Jack, I know that Chairman Hickey has extended the olive branch. You've refused, and shame on you, because that shows who the better man is, in my humble opinion. And it's my opinion, and it's not there for you to like or dislike. It's there for you to learn from.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, I mean, so can you just sort of, in these last few minutes that we've got, sort of distill the differences in your, like, what your goals and your vision for the state GOP moving forward versus what you feel your opponent's vision is, and distill that into the differences, why people, when they go and they vote, why do they need to check the box for your name?
Well, one thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to do what is constitutional, pure and simple. I know that a lot of people got, you know, their drawers in a wad, as old country saying is, over caucus versus primary.
Oh, yeah.
We've never caucused a House member or the Senate.
No.
Never.
No.
It's for county parties only.
Right.
And it's to save us from having to pay for a primary.
Yeah.
So the thing that we need to be looking at, these primaries do cost. I know Johnson County, to have the Republican, we did a caucus, so it didn't cost this county a penny. But the Democrats chose a darn primary.
Yeah.
They said all the state's going to pay for it. It's free. Well, let me tell you, when the state pays for something, it's coming from UNC's.
That's right. That's right.
It's coming from our tax dollars.
And let's just remember how the money, that if you got some money to pay for it, let's remind people how that happened, because there was no fiscal note on HB 855.
That's where I was going.
After it was passed. And the whole reason you put a fiscal note on a bill before it gets passed is so we can have that conversation about the money.
Yeah, there again, that was Lee Reeves. It was misled. It said fiscal note insignificant. Okay. Yeah. And I said, hey, these primaries.
That was Jack too, because it was
these primaries cost. And I think my AOE told me that the Democrat primary cost somewhere around $29,000.
Wow.
And we had 253 Democrats to vote.
That's it?
Divide that by how much it costs per vote for them to vote. Okay. Now, we didn't have early voting since there was no office was challenged. Why did they even need to have the primary? And the Democrat chair down here, the Democrat chair, you can't talk to him. He knows more than you. He's an engineer. He's got more book sense and he's got common sense. But he costs the state of Tennessee that amount of money, you know, and that is sad. And I've heard other stories throughout the state. So what they're afraid of is the state GOP may one day want to caucus senators and legislators. That hadn't even been a thought that's crossed any of us' mind.
Right.
But that is the misnomer.
Just the logistics of that would just be crazy. I mean, it would cost the party too much. The party couldn't afford, I don't think, to do something that big.
No.
But I don't know. I mean, Lee's wife and Jack's wife are both elected at the county level. So maybe this wasn't about the state.
Well,
I mean, not to imply anything improper.
The thing is with me is I want to do what's constitutional. I think that bill they passed is unconstitutional. And I know one of them up there said, well, who's going to sue us? We know it's unconstitutional,
Right.
but who's got enough money to sue us?
That's right.
You know, and that's not the attitude to have. That person needs to carry his butt to the house.
I was told by another legislator that that's what another legislator said to them. So I was told directly by a legislator who it was said to, told me.
And I know which legislator said it, and he needs to be, you know, I'd love to have a conversation with him because he's got his head up his Bo-runkus. He hadn't got his head in the right place.
No.
And I don't have a JD behind my name.
Yeah.
But listen,
he serves himself.
I can get around it better than most.
Yeah.
I know when I testified between the House and the caucus, I mean, the primary and the caucus bill in the House subcommittee in state and local government, one of the House members that didn't know me thought I was an attorney, you know, and I thought, wow, you know, thank you. I appreciate the comment. But anyway, the thing about it is, you know, we got to stay constitutional.
Yeah.
And we got to stay focused. We've got to protect our party because the Democrats are coming after us.
Oh, yeah. Well,
and if they get control, we're done.
Yeah. Well, you've seen too, there's this internal struggle going on over there between the more centrist Democrats and the far left socialist Democrat socialists, which really they're communists. They're winning these congressional House seats in states like New York and Colorado. And they tell us, you know, well, you're just overstating it. You're trying to scare people. We've still got control of the vehicle. No, you don't. No, you don't. And you thought that you could control these lunatics. You brought them in under your tent because you wanted their plucky enthusiasm and you thought you could control them. Well, now they're commandeering your party. And they're going to drive away with it. And then that's what the alternative is going to be. And we can't have that. We can't have communists sitting in Congress.
Yeah. And people say, well, it won't happen in Tennessee.
Oh,
do not hold your breath.
Oh, yeah. Afton Bain, that woman had all kinds of enthusiasm behind her.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I better not leave it. I did that on Newsmax. I'm going to leave that on Newsmax.
Yeah.
But long story short, I want to protect our party. I want to have the freedom of everything, my freedom and my liberties, and my pursuit of happiness that I'm enjoying now. I don't want nobody to change that. That's why we have our God-given rights. And I have my Second Amendment. So the thing is, we need to stand true. We need to quit playing in the middle of the fence. All Republicans that are in the House and Senate, get off the fence.
Yeah.
Satan owns the fence.
Yeah, that's true.
You got to be yes or no.
Yeah.
Black and white. You got to quit playing head games.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of game playing going up there, and it shouldn't happen.
No.
And if we would stop the PACs, we would stop the lobbyists, we would be a whole lot better off. That is not the way the government was created.
Yeah.
Go back to our basic founding fundamentals.
Yeah.
And let's pick up and go from there, because look up who wrote the preamble to the Constitution.
Yeah.
We share the same last name.
Yeah.
So it's in my DNA. Period. And that's why I'm such a fighter. Because why do I do this? I do it for the love of the party.
Yeah.
I don't do it because I enjoy the animosity, the argumentative stuff.
Yeah.
And we get hung up on minors instead of worrying about the majors. And we make a anthill into a mountain.
Yeah.
We need to quit it. We need to get things and have good common sense legislation that works good for everyday fellow Tennesseans.
Yeah.
Because whether you are a House member or a Senate member in Memphis as a Republican,
Yeah.
or you're in Johnson City, Tennessee, your vote affects me in
Yes.
Memphis, Tennessee.
Yes.
And that way, everybody needs to put on their thinking hat.
Yeah.
And instead of adding more laws like they do every year, we need to start law reduction.
Yeah.
Don't have put so many laws on the books you can't
Yeah.
enforce them.
Yeah.
They're crazy.
Yeah, like President Trump in his first term, for every one new regulation, he cut 2. So
Yeah, well, you should have cut 5. You know,
I agree.
But anyway, you know, this is my thing is I'm going to stay true to form. I think we need to make our party, you know, I don't want to pitch a big tent, because every time you pitch that big tent, you bring in everything from the trans Republicans. I used to use squishy Republicans. And the reason we're scared of passing true party restoration is because we have people in the House and Senate that enjoy those crossover voting, and they know it's been illegal since 1972. There's you another law that has no teeth in it,
No teeth,
no punishment.
Yeah.
There's no way to really enforce it. You know?
There's not.
So
there's no enforcement mechanism at all.
It's one of those crazy laws that need to go.
Yeah.
We need to have party restoration, and we need to have one-day voting, cut out early voting, and go to watermark paper ballots.
Yeah.
Let's do the Donald Trump plan. If you truly are a Trumpster, we would be making this happen in Tennessee.
Yes.
We've got we got several up there that were never Trump.
Oh yeah. No. Well, obviously when Stephen, I mean, we did nothing to pass any kind of substantive anti-immigration. Yes, I get it. The federal government, they manage, you know, immigration, blah, whatever. But we should have, Stephen Miller should never have had to come down here and handhold our House and our Senate to make sure we pass substantive anti-illegal immigration legislation. They should have went, oh, Tennessee looks like it's done. We don't need to go down there. That didn't happen.
Well, it's the same thing. I never forget this. Marsha Blackburn, Bill Haggerty, and Bill Lee look like whipped puppies with Donald Trump up there doing the Memphis task force. If you're a leader, you would have took care of that problem.
Oh, absolutely.
We didn't need Donald Trump coming to Memphis, Tennessee, to take care of that problem. We should have been taking care of it all along.
That's right.
And that is so sad, you know.
It is. It is. We're this red state. And I was sitting sign holding at the Brentwood Library with a friend of mine, and there was a girl that was interviewing. She's with the Epoch Times, and one of the things I expressed to her is people think that Tennessee is some kind of red nirvana, and I got news for you. It's not. It's on the surface. It is, but underneath,
it's a purple onion.
That's right.
So that's what I tell people. We're more purplish than we are dark red. So we need to be careful. We're on a slippery slope.
Yes, sir.
And one of the things that we do is we try to protect the party.
Yes.
And we all, including you, including anybody that listens to this, any legislator, senator, or governor, we've all got bad information and acted on bad information. I even have, as being an SEC member, because honestly, Angie McClanahan and I were lied to about something. And then we just found out almost 4 years later, that we found out the truth. And it's very despicable.
Yeah.
But I was appointed in December of 22 because a gentleman was removed from the ballot that was not bona fide.
Okay.
And I was appointed. Then I had to run. Right. In the next primary, I had to run in 24, and Vincent Cuevas was the guy that challenged me. I was very successful in winning that election. So I've actually, come December of 26, I will have been on the state executive committee 4 years.
4 years.
And I would love to have another 4 years. Anybody who has got any questions, reach out to me.
Right.
I'd love to talk to you.
Yeah.
And I want to make.
Where can they reach you, Chris? I mean, what's the socials, or is there what's the
Well,
best way?
I've got a Facebook page. It's just Chris Morris. I actually took a picture when I was in D.C. It's actually Biden is in that helicopter because they flew 3 Marine ones over, and I didn't realize that in front of the Washington Monument, Biden was in that helicopter. And so that's how you identify who I am. You can send me a message.
Mhm.
People can reach out to me. I'll give you my cell phone. It's 931
Okay.
478 0624.
Okay.
Welcome to call me. If I don't answer your call, I will return your message or your text. I promise you.
Good.
So, I'd appreciate everybody who watches this in Senatorial District 28. I humbly ask for you to reelect Chris Morris as your state executive committee man.
Yep. I second that wholeheartedly. So
Well, thank you.
thank you so much, Chris, for being on here. It's like we've been jabbing on here about an hour and 10 minutes. So I think that if there's nothing else, I think we've covered everything. So thanks so much for being here with me. And you are welcome to come back anytime because you are very informative and entertaining.
I can be a lot of fun, that's for sure. But anyway, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Anytime you need me, just ring my phone. I'd be glad to come back. I know that I have wrote an op-ed that's going to be published here in just a few days. I sent you a copy of the op-ed where you would know. I'm just tired of the outright negative innuendos and half truths. I just, it's got to stop. We're bigger people than that. We're God's people. We need to do what's biblically correct.
Yep.
Above anything else. Okay.
Yes, I agree.
And I appreciate your time and have a good evening.
You too. Thanks so much, everybody. It looks like that we had quite a few people in here at one time, but we got nobody now. So now's as good a time as any. Thanks everybody for hanging with me. This is Kelly Jackson with TruthWire News, and I appreciate you. Make sure you go to TruthWire News and subscribe. I've got about 300 articles in there if you really want to know what goes on in Tennessee. So love you all, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.